Hey guys, welcome to another video. This week I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm actually going to be customizing a Hot Wheels car. This is an idea I've had for a little while now, and it's great because you can usually find these for pretty cheap. So getting started, I just want to prime this car with some acrylic gesso. So I'm using a small brush and applying the gesso, and I'm trying not to get it on any of the windows or the wheels. There's also a small Ford logo on the front of the car that I'm avoiding as well. And I believe this took at least 2 coats of the gesso to cover up the racing stripes. Once that's dry, I'm moving on to painting this car. And I don't have the official color, Race Red, but I'm going to try my best to match that color. And red is always a difficult color to work with. It always takes more coats than you think it's going to need in order to get a consistent red without any streaks. And just like before with the gesso, I'm avoiding the windows and wheels, and I'm also avoiding the hood and the roof of the car because I'm actually going to paint those black. And while painting this car, I noticed that the taillights and headlights on the original paint job were actually just orange like the rest of the car, and that was definitely something that I wanted to change making this custom car. So moving on to the rest of the car, like I said, the hood and the roof of the car are black, and I'm just finishing up some details in the front here. And the red definitely needs another coat, so I'm doing that as well. To remove any of the paint that accidentally got on any of the windows or wheels, I'm just using a toothpick to scrape that off, as well as any spots where I may have made a mistake with the black paint, since the red paint will have a hard time covering that. And for some of the touch-ups, I did take out a nail art brush in order to really control the paint. And I did mention I wanted to add some details to this car, so I'm going to mix up some paint for the headlights and the taillights. And for the headlights, I went with this dark silver, so I just added some black to some silver paint that I had and used that. And for the taillights, I'm using a dark red, so I just mixed in some black to the red I was using previously and used that. I also want to add a Ford logo to the back of the car to match the front of the car, so I'm just going to use some white paint to do that, as well as make a spot for a license plate. And then I'm just taking some dark blue and swirling that into the spot for the Ford logo. I also used some blue to trace the RS on the back. And at this point, I decided to mix up some dark gold paint to add to the centers of the wheels. And I'm actually going to use a toothpick to apply the gold paint, That way I can really get it into the small space of the wheels. And I think they turned out looking pretty cool. So I'm also going to use the toothpick to add the RS to both sides of the rear spoiler. Once all the paint has dried, I'm going over the entire car with a coat of matte varnish. I did print a few small details, like the license plate and the Hoonigan vinyl decal on some printer paper, and attach those with some glue before the varnish. And to make sure the varnish didn't smudge the ink, I did cover those printed pieces in tape before applying them. And when I started this project, I didn't think I'd be customizing the packaging as well, but I decided to make it match, so I scanned in the cardboard piece of the packaging and made some adjustments to the color. Since I didn't plan on doing this when I unboxed the car, I did make a few visible rips in the packaging that I need to remove. So I'm just using the spot healing tool where I can, and if need be, I'm using the clone stamp to remove those rips and other details in the car that need to be adjusted. For the roof of the car, I do need to adjust the color there, so I'm selecting the area and I'm just going to make that black. And then I'm just cleaning up the edges as needed. For the hood of the car, I need to make that black as well, so I need to select that area. And I need to remove the racing stripes. I also need to change the color of the rear spoiler, so I'm selecting that and making that black as well. And then I'm removing the decal on the side of the car by using the clone stamp. Then the last few things I'm going to do, I'm going to change the entire color of the car to red. And I'm going to add the Hoonigan vinyl decal to the front of the car. And once I have all of those adjustments made, I'm printing this out, and I'm going to cover it with some clear packing tape in order to give it a little bit of the sheen that the cardboard packaging has. Making sure the tape is smoothed down, and I'm using the edge of my nail to work out any of the air bubbles. And then I'm cutting this out. I'm actually only using the car portion of this. I thought I was going to use more of the area, but because of the way it printed, I decided just to cover up the car. Then I'm just using a glue stick to attach it. And then I'm going to repackage the car, and I'm just taking my glue stick again and reattaching the plastic. I really love that I customized the packaging as well as the car and put it all back together. I think it looks really cool. That pretty much wraps up this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next week.